I just finished planting 2 more broadleaf evergreens. The first one here is the Euonymus japonicus, or actually Euonymus chiaochovicus, the Manhattan, but I believe that's just a different cultivar of Euonymus japonicus. Common name is a spindle tree, but most people just call it a Euonymus. This one is the most upright and tree form of the many different Euonymus cultivars that are out there. It's also one of the most cold hardy, so should be perfectly fine here in Middle Tennessee. And just as a reminder, I'm planting this right around New Year's, just before New Year's, so almost last day of December 2024. And then right next to that, I have another broadleaf evergreen. This is the Euonymus gymnanthera, the Bigfoot Clayera, which I've planted before and had good success with. And the significance of both of these is I believe they are both in the ericaceae family of plants, which is the blueberry family. And some of the online resources that I read about armillaria root rot said that the research had noted that the plants in the ericaceae family were slightly more resistant to armillaria. Now I've got these planted pretty close to a dark green arborvitae. This is the Thuja occidentalis nigra cultivar, so the eastern arborvitae. And over here I have a holly, that's the Dahoon holly, ericaceae. Some lists about armillaria resistance also list holly as being resistant. So here the ericaceae, the Dahoon holly, is a southeastern U.S. native. And just as a reminder, these other two are both from Asia. But this one usually grows in lowlands, so it should be pretty have resistant roots, I think. In my mind, anything that grows in a swampy area needs to be a little bit more root rot resistant than other trees. So that's why I like the Dahoon holly for this spot. And you can see over here I've got some overgrown grass that I haven't yet cleared out. Just because there wasn't time in the summer, it got too hot and too many other things needed to be done. So I'm slowly going back through and ripping out all that grass. You can see I did that around the Dahoon holly here. And then putting down my rock mulch that I have here. This is something I showed in a short about how my new method for doing rock mulch is. First I'll come through and in the blank spots between the trees, I'll put the larger flagstones and these boulder type things, especially around the base of the tree. I'll do the larger boulders. You can see I have some over there at the base of my Vanderwolf pyramid, Pinus flexilis. And then also around this Sasaba osmanthus, I have the larger boulders. And then in between, I'll drop in some smaller ones on top of that to kind of fill up the gaps. So I just kind of sprinkle some smaller size pebbles over the top of that. And it ends up being pretty sunlight tight. Let's call it that. The goal is to prevent sunlight from being able to reach the dirt, and obviously we want to try to prevent as much as possible any plants that are under there, even after I ripped them out, from being able to sprout up. And now between the trees I've put down kind of tiled the ground basically with these facer stone tiles that I broke up. I got some on discount at Lowe's. And the reason that was important for me is because I'm trying to make my rock surface be white and reflective to reflect a lot of the sun's energy so the roots don't get too hot. And you can see closer to the tree where water permeability is a concern, I have the larger boulders around the base of this dragon spruce here. This is Picea aspirata from China. And then further out I get the smaller ones, and I have the ultra white pebbles that I purchased from Lowe's. But these are over the top of the larger brown pebbles, which is basically I think they're called egg rock, that I got from Lowe's also. And so this 2-layer rock system I've found is the best one so far for keeping out weeds, and it's incredibly low maintenance. And the other reason it's really important for my purposes is because I want to come in here and water when there's a drought condition, and I'll probably squeeze in some little small white pebbles in that hole right there when I get the chance. So when there's a drought, I want to come through and I water really quickly. And if you don't have any mulch, or even if you have like wood mulch is the worst in my opinion. When you come through and blast it with a water hose, the mulch just goes away. Or if you don't have mulch, it's going to be eating away the dirt from the base of the tree, and your roots become exposed. So rock mulch prevents that, and you can just blast them with the hose on full power, and the water just kind of flows around the rocks, and the roots never get disturbed. And obviously, since it's rock, it's not soaking up the water like wood mulch would. It's not unnecessarily harboring fungus and bacteria like the wood mulch would, because it's just rock. And the other thing I like about the white rock on the surface is that any sunlight that's landing on that white rock is obviously getting reflected. That is the purpose of the white rock. So that goes back up to the foliage. So if you have a tree that maybe, now this one is full sun, but if there's some that maybe don't get as much sun, I think you can increase the amount of solar radiation that reaches a tree by putting rock mulch around the base and reflecting some of that mulch or some of that sunlight back up into the foliage of the tree from the ground. So that's another benefit to the white surface that I'm doing here. So I am maximizing water passage down to the roots. I am maximizing sunlight for the foliage on top. I'm minimizing disturbance of the root area by protecting it with 2 layers of rock. And I am really minimizing weed growth by creating kind of an impenetrable barrier that weeds just can't push through because the rock is too heavy and too thick. So that's my new rock mulch strategy, and I'm going to obviously keep spreading it along this line here and rip out the grass as I go and replace it with rock. And hopefully next summer my weed maintenance will be near zero and watering will be very easy.